A new anti-Semitism controversy boiling at Cornell University. The school is investigating after a student allegedly used a university job platform to reject a business owner with a message saying he was not interested in working for a Jew. Nice. The incident quickly went viral, sparking outrage and raising fresh questions about the climate for Jewish students on American campuses. Honestly, it's just another example of the growing tolerance for anti-Jewish bigotry in higher education. They just seem to think it's okay. Joining me now to discuss is campus reform correspondent Gregory Lyakhov. Gregory, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me on.
When did it become acceptable on the left for Jewish students to be, holed up in the library, hiding in rooms, groups rioting outside the door, anti-Semitic messages spray painted on the walls, destruction? I mean, we have seen this for the last couple of years. It's not quite as bad today as it was then, but are Jewish students safe on college campuses? That's the straight question.
Yeah, well, no. The answer is unfortunately no. We have seen time and time again that in higher education, anti-Semitism is only continuing. And when we normalize anti-Semitism, like we have for the past several years of college, with colleges, including Cornell University, promoting and allowing for encampments to happen, then we're going to have the higher education students that are pumped out of the system. They're going to be anti-Semites. And this is exactly what's happening. We're seeing anti-Semitism transition from the college campus into the workforce. And look, I've spoken with both brothers that were on the receiving end of this ridiculous anti-Semitic text, and both brothers, the Einhorn brothers, they both say that this is a result of the education system. When we have colleges like Cornell normalizing anti-Semitism, allowing for anti-Semitism to fester off campus, then students are going to think that anti-Semitism in all forms is acceptable.
How dishonest is the left today? They've spent 10 years or more calling Donald Trump and his supporters Nazis and fascists. And yet in the state of Maine, the Democrats just put a guy up to be their U.S. Senate candidate that has a literal Nazi tattoo, a Totenkopf, which was what was worn by the Nazi concentration camp guards. So it is absolutely through the looking glass crazy to me, Gregory, as I see the left scream about anti-Semitism until they have people with Nazi tattoos and, oh, that'll do. And they look the other way. What do we do to turn things around?
Yeah, I mean, you brought up a great point here. The left themselves are hypocrites. They're just a party of hypocrites. We have seen, and in this instance with Cornell University, the major that Austin Franco, the guy who actually sent the text message that he is not interested in working for a Jew, the major that he is studying in Cornell University requires diversity, equity, and inclusion classes. Now, this is definitely not any diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's diversity, equity, and inclusion except for Jews. And that is the issue. The issue is that these left-leaning universities are teaching students to view the world through an oppressor versus oppressed lens, to view the world through saying that anti-Semitism is fine, but other forms of racism is not. This is how the left is viewing the world. And look, I will give credit to Cornell University. When I spoke with them for my reporting for the Leadership Institute's campus reform, they have said that they are investigating this incident and will take proper action. This is a step in the right direction. Now, we had for years anti-Semitism being ignored by these universities. Now, finally, they are forced by the Trump administration and his efforts to finally actually deal with this and investigate this.
We're talking about the fact that it's apparently like it's almost a sporting event. Go after the Jews, go after the Christians, intimidate them, mock them, attack them. What has to happen in this country for that to change?
Yeah, for that to change, the upper education system, higher education system has to change. And in order to do that, we have to have continuous pressure by the Trump administration, which has already been doing a great job with this on making sure that the higher education schools and universities actually make changes. Look, I am going to Hillsdale College, which is a Christian conservative college. As a Jewish student, I feel more refuge going to a Christian college than I do going to a normal secular college. And that is because there are just the left is filled with anti-Semitism. It's not only anti-Semitism, it's hatred for everyone that is not an underrepresented minority. And that is the issue there, that when we have reverse racism, like we do in this Cornell incident, then it's only going to get worse and worse until we actually address it.
Well, you're exactly right. And Hillsdale is a place of conservatism and common sense, and a place that believes in America and the freedom of religion and the freedom to be safe in our
Yeah.
worship. This is foundational for this country, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely foundational, and it should be something that every university replicates. There should not be universities where it's just unsafe for Jewish students to walk around on campus. There shouldn't be a place in the United States where if you walk around with a yarmulke on as a Jewish student, you are going to be attacked, prevented to walk into classrooms, and that is exactly what has continuously happened. Look, this is just one of the many incidents that we're going to start seeing where campus anti-Semitism is going to spread into the workforce, and that is the danger. That campus anti-Semitism, the anti-Semitism that students have been dealing with for now years, is going to follow them into the workforce.
Yeah. You see churches attacked here and in Europe, synagogues attacked from here to the end of the earth. Same thing with Christian churches, I guess.
Yeah.
What has to happen? Look, this guy wrote something, racist on a post. I'm a freedom of speech guy. You want to write something stupid? Okay. But that's not what concerns me, Gregory. It's the violence. It's the targeting. It is, the burning, the we saw this on college campuses where Jewish students were locked in rooms with rioting people outside and police overwhelmed by it. It's the violence that has to be addressed. We cannot just give people a slap on the wrist. People need to be held accountable for that and go to jail for that. Maybe that would get their attention. I'm not sure because some of these people are so far gone, they might do it anyway. But there have to
Yeah.
be real consequences, don't there?
Of course, and that's the exact question I posed to both brothers when interviewing them for an article for campus reform. It's that what can actually be done, what can be done further to prevent these incidents from happening in the future. And the answer to that is by making sure that these universities are not allowed to accept anti-Semitism, because once you start accepting anti-Semitism, once you start ignoring an encampment protest that is anti-Israel and eventually anti-Jewish, once you start accepting that type of rhetoric on campus, then it's going to spread into anti-Semitism. You cannot accept anti-Semitism in any form, because once you accept it in one form, then it will spread. And it's not only going to be anti-Semitism, it will become anti-Christian. It will become every single anti that there is of common sense. And that is the issue with upper education here, that it is becoming anti-American, and we have to fix it. The only way for that is for the Trump administration to continuously push the higher education and universities like Cornell to continue and actually fight back and do and have consequences for students like Austin.
Yeah, the Trump administration did point out to universities and colleges, if you allow this sort of thing to happen, you could lose your funding or your accreditation, which would be appropriate as well. If it's not safe for every student, it's not safe for any student. Last word to you, Gregory.
Yeah, well, look, all in all, in general, again, the Trump administration should continue doing exactly what it is doing. I can only imagine what would have happened if Kamala Harris, for example, won the election, where if Kamala Harris, her policies under Joe Biden clearly represented a policy that would ignore these sorts of incidents, and these colleges would have absolutely no motivation to do anything about anti-Semitism. So thank God that the Trump administration is taking this seriously, and I hope that it continues to do so.
I hope so too, for your sake and mine and all college kids. Sir, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.